Good morning, good morning, good morning. Back to doing more live streams. This is going to be obviously a Dungeon Master guide for those of you who haven't figured it out. The title should be pretty self-explanatory, but just in case you were unaware, that's what's going on here. I'm just waiting for YouTube to catch up so I know that the sound is working fine. But much like yourself, I'm also having to watch an ad, so I'll have to wait. Oh, there we go. Thank God I put the skip button on there. All right, you'll find that most of my live streams consist of me sort of giving you a basic rundown of a particular topic. Now, sound seems to be working fine. That's good. Pop out the earplugs. You will get to see my face at the end of this, so I will put the start time for this video down in the description, but you can't access my live streams unless you subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified when I go live. You have to go through the notifications that get sent to you, otherwise you won't be able to access the live stream at a later date. They will go unlisted and then they become available to patrons who can watch them whenever they like. I do put out an edited version of all of my live streams, but it excludes all of the Q&A at the end of my live streams or any feedback that I might have presented at the very beginning, just so you know. Now, normally if you haven't been part of my live streams before, is I present everything first and then I open it up for questions and answers at the end of the live stream, and usually that'll be a face-to-face interaction for those of you who are unaware. Okay, so I think I'm pretty much ready to go. Let's line it up, let's spit it out, let's cover the topic. There we go. And yes, I will be using slides today, as I tend to use slides with my live streams. Okay. Hi, how's it going? Sorry, Darren, you distracted me. I was all ready to go, and then your comment popped up. I'm doing all right, Darren. I'm doing all right. Okay, so let's get started. Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. My name is Fred Wheeler, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. And today's topic is Doppelgangers in the Lost Mine of Phandelver. Sounds like a pretty simple topic. This is a Dungeon Master guide for the Lost Mine of Phandelver. For anybody who is a player, this is not the video for you. I have hundreds of videos for players. You're welcome to go and check them out. This is for the Dungeon Master. I'm going to be covering how to use your doppelgangers in the Lost Mine of Phandelver. For those of you who are looking for very specific information on each of the two doppelgangers in the adventure, that would be a separate video rather than this video. Okay, so what I'm doing here is the two doppelgangers in the Lost Mine of Phandelver that work for Nesnar the Black Spider. We know the basics. They give us the basics in terms of how they work. There's two sections, there's two doppelgangers, but there's often the question that pops up I have from people saying, well, what if I want to use the doppelgangers in a slightly different manner? And of course you certainly can. The first doppelganger I want to just briefly talk about, and that is vyerith. I believe it's pronounced vyerith with the Y being silent. She's disguised as a female drow who came to collect Gundren Rockseeker and the map to Wave Echo Cave from King Groll in Cragmore Castle. That's the first doppelganger, and it spells out pretty much what she's going to do. The next doppelganger is the male doppelganger, that is vhalak, I believe it's vhalak, disguised as a male drow who supervises the cleaning up of a rift in the Wave Echo Cave location. So those are our two doppelgangers, and they spell out all the details in terms of how you do that and how you operate them. So how can you use the doppelgangers in the Lost Mine of Phandelver? Well, first off, you can just run the doppelgangers as written in the adventure. So vyerith would simply disguise herself as Gundren Rockseeker, provided she knows that the players are in that location. Otherwise, she wouldn't have time to do so. Or maybe she is always walking around looking like Gundren Rockseeker in anticipation that somebody might try to rescue him. Certainly a possibility if you wanted to do it that way. Okay, and the other individual that can be disguised, and that is Nundro Rockseeker. So vhalak will disguise himself as Nundro Rockseeker, provided he's had a chance to be warned of the player's characters or gets a chance to escape back to Nesnar the Black Spider, and then Nesnar the Black Spider will pretend to use Nundro as a bargaining chip. Now, you could use a number of different NPCs that the players have come across that they are familiar with the situation if you really wanted to. But these two sort of make the most sense. And there is the third Rockseeker brother that you could use, provided they haven't found the body. If they've found the body already, it's going to be a bit troublesome. But those are all certainly options. Now, Nesna the Black Spider knows that Vyerith and Vhalak are doppelgangers. But what happens if we change things up? What if they don't actually know that these doppelgangers are not, in fact, Basically, Nesna doesn't actually have to know that the doppelgangers are doppelgangers. He may, in fact, think they are drow. That could make the adventure quite a lot more interesting for those of you who really want to put a twist, not just for the players' characters, but also for the main villain. The doppelgangers could also be great spies for a greater threat than Nesna the Black Spider. So maybe your next major villain, when you continue from the Lost Mine of Phandelver into your next adventure, you're going to pick up somebody else. And something like a Lich might be useful, or any of the major villains that are part of your next adventure, whichever one you're planning to run. And you don't even have to decide right then and there which one it's going to be. You could also have Zentarum be the main villain. It's not so much Nesna the Black Spider, but this shadowy organisation, if you really wanted to. Doppelgangers might pretend to be loyal to the Black Spider, but have a personal vested interest in the Spellforge. It's of immense value. Nobody actually knows that it's not working properly anymore, and given the right individual, that might be able to be put back into proper function again. Who knows? It just comes down to how powerful the individual is who's engaged in repairing the Spellforge. So maybe the doppelgangers have a vested interest, their own personal vested interest, in acquiring the Spellforge. Or just the wealth of the mine. I mean, there's a lot of wealth, there's a lot of value hidden within the mine, not just the Spellforge, that they might be more interested in. There are a huge number of NPCs in Phandalin. So Vyerith is given enough freedom of movement to take the identity of pretty much any of the Phandalin townsfolk or members and use them as a spy against players' characters. So you can collect more information for Nesna the Black Spider, or maybe just information for the doppelganger themselves. So that's certainly something you could do. Now, one of the key characters the players will keep coming across, or non-player characters, NPCs, is Sildar Hallwinter. So disguising Vyerith as Sildar Hallwinter might be a really useful way of collecting information that the players won't necessarily be aware of. And that's really the key, right? You don't want to play your doppelganger as a combat situation. They are there as a spy to collect information, and they have all the tools available to make that possible because they can read thoughts. What you could do, if you've got a group of players that really trust you and you are the sort of dungeon master who can manage this sort of situation, is you could conspire with one of your players, and have them take over the role of the doppelganger, and have the doppelganger replace their character to put a bit of a twist into the story and allow you to infiltrate the party so you can collect even more information. Now, this requires you to find a player who's willing to play into this. Also, too, you'll need to figure out how you're going to repair any damage you do in terms of the player's trust towards that player when you finally make the big reveal. If there's no reveal and they never ever know, then it doesn't matter. But they might start to get a bit suspicious if suddenly everybody seems to know wherever they are, everything they're planning to do, and it seems apparent there is a mole within the party. So just bear in mind you need to have a group of players who are capable of managing a situation like that, and you need to be sort of skilled enough that you can manage it yourself. There are so many different ways you can put a twist into this adventure with the doppelgangers. I can't cover every single thing in one video. The sky's the limit. I would suggest essentially any NPC that they encounter could wind up being a removed from play, whether they're killed or captured. Captured might be more fun, and then they can then infiltrate and provide fictitious information to the player's characters, or collect information on the player's characters and pass that on to Nesna the Black Spider or whoever they're working for. Now, when you get to the end of this adventure, things start to develop, right? They're going to finally meet Nesna the Black Spider, or will they be meeting Nesna the Black Spider? That's the big question, right? Nesna the Black Spider is in fact a doppelganger. Why not have Nesna the Black Spider not actually be a drow wizard who is part of this conspiracy to take control of Phandelver? In fact, it was a doppelganger all the time. Now, this could be one of the existing doppelgangers, or probably more sensible to make it a third doppelganger if you really want to make things a little bit more interesting. That way the other two doppelgangers can fulfill their role as listed in the adventure. Now, remember, the doppelgangers might be working together. There might be a small group of them. Often doppelgangers will work alone, but they can work in a small group, or they might be working for a secret society trying to take over the world or take over this part of the world. It's really up to you. Now, you can have Nesna the Black Spider die. Maybe the doppelgangers take over Nesna the Black Spider. It's happened like a couple of weeks ago or a few days ago. It's really up to you. They killed Nesna the Black Spider, and his body is somewhere within Wave Echo Cave. Or maybe Nesna the Black Spider is in fact just a puppet, and the true Black Spider is actually one of the doppelgangers. This third doppelganger, as I said. You could also, when they encounter Nesna the Black Spider, have two Nesna the Black Spiders. In other words, one is the real drow wizard, and another is a doppelganger, and if the two of them flee in different directions, the players have now got to make that hard choice about which is the real Nesna the Black Spider, which is the main villain. And then you are splitting the party, and then you can allow that situation to drag them into a location where you've set up traps. Whether those are traps that are set by Nesna the Black Spider or the doppelgangers, it doesn't matter. It's really up to you. So a lot of different ways you can play with the doppelgangers and the Lost Mine of Phandelver. I really hope this has given you a few ideas for those of you who are wanting to sort of go outside of the realm of the adventure Lost Mine of Phandelver. Now, if it has been helpful to you, I would like to point out I have a huge series of videos for Dungeon Masters on running the Lost Mine of Phandelver that cover many of the NPCs and situations that you might come across within this adventure. And you're welcome to go and check that out. Big, huge playlist. I think it's in the 50 plus range. Now, I also have hundreds of videos for players and Dungeon Masters, which you're welcome to go and check out as well. If you found this video helpful, that's fantastic. If you want to support the channel so I keep doing more videos like this, then check out my Patreon page where you get access to the unlisted live streams. You also get access to exclusive content, and you get priority on any of the videos that I make. I also have affiliate links to the book depository and Amazon down in the description. I have a merchandise shelf underneath all of my videos. Make sure to share, like, and subscribe, and hit the bell button to be notified when I go live and when I publish new videos. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. I'm not gone. I'm just putting my glasses on and grabbing a drink of water and leaving a pore so it's easy for me to trim. It's always nice too. And it's back to my face so you get to see me. And let's have a chat. For those of you who are interested in talking about doppelgangers, doppelgangers are one of those things. I haven't done a monster tactics video on the doppelganger, and to be fair, I do not feel that the doppelganger is a combat monster. I feel like it's a monster or creature or tool the Dungeon Master uses to collect information. And that's really sort of where I'm looking at it. With regard to something like the doppelganger, I do not think, even if the adventure says that they fight, I do not think that doppelgangers hang around to fight. I feel like that's just foolish. They would run away. They've done their job, they've collected the information, they run away to do what they do well another day. They're not up to... the only reason they would fight is if they are cornered and there's no other choice. And even then, I feel like they would try to manipulate the situation, surrender, and try to get in the good graces of the players' characters and try to sort of bargain for some sort of deal. Okay, right, let's have a look here. Darren, yes, I am here. Joe is here. And Epidemius, the ghost is here. How's it going? Hi Joe, going to get over a nasty cold, feeling much better now. Yeah, I'm only just... The problem is the weather here in New Zealand, it's supposed to be going into spring, and spring just means it's wet. It should be sunny, but no, it's not. And it's gotten cold again, so that who knows how long that's going to go on for. But my voice and so forth is a bit more cleaned out, which is nice. This gives you a few ideas, Joe? Good. I know that at some point you're going to be near the end of the adventure, and I really feel like, because There's Another Black Spider, when I played There's Another Black Spider, I played everything to a large degree as the adventure spelled out, and I did not feel like it worked out the way I wanted it to. And if I had been smart, I would have included a doppelganger and the real There's Another Black Spider and have them separate and run in two different directions to really make things incredibly difficult for the players and a bit more confusing, and to split them up. Yes, it's a sneaky monster, absolutely, Ghost. The CIA of the creature catalogue, exactly. Or the Secret Service, or whatever, MI5, MI6, or whatever it is. The SAS. I believe it's the SAS here in New Zealand, although, I don't know, does New Zealand even have some sort of... No, probably not. But who cares anyway? So, but yeah, it is a stealth and infiltration creature rather than a up in your face fighting creature. Now, if there's any questions outside of what I've talked about today, let me know. If people really want a video specifically on vyerith and vhalak, I will do those as separate videos. I don't really feel like, based on what's in the adventure, that it's necessary, but it's up to you. What's that, Ghost? What are your thoughts on the upcoming Eberron setting guide to 5e? Okay, so my feelings on the new... Look, I only did a video that just talked about the announcement. So what are my feelings about the Eberron setting book? It also includes an adventure, which is what they've been doing. They said they would always do that. I think it's a good move. Personally, I like the idea of seeing something outside of the realm of the Forgotten Realms. We've gotten a lot of the Forgotten Realms. Faerun is, has taken precedence over everything else, and I understand that. So I think that it makes a lot of sense that the Eberron setting book come out. The fact that it's got the Artificer in there, I haven't seen it yet, but that does concern me because that means crafting stuff. And that would be I do not feel like the Artificer works in other settings, but in Eberron it should, because it would make no sense not to have them. I won't really have a full-fledged sort of idea of what I feel about it until I see the book myself. But yeah, as a general rule, I think it's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. Bone and Crows. How can you link Lost Mine of Phandelver with the Dungeon of the Mad Mage? Okay. Now, I don't believe... So I did a video called The Next Adventure After the Lost Mine of Phandelver. And I don't believe that video covered trying to link the Lost Mine of Phandelver into Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Primarily because I don't think there's an easy way of doing it. The only way I can think of you sort of incorporating an easy way of linking something like the Lost Mine of Phandelver, because they're now level 5, and Dungeon of the Mad Mage starts at level 1, but you could just bring them into the 5th level dungeon, rather than have them start at the very first level. You could just ignore all of the first 5 levels or 4 levels, ignore them, and just bring them in that way. I haven't really spent a lot of time thinking about how to do that. It's going to be my turn to Dungeon Master fairly shortly. I don't know how much longer it'll be away. We had a lot of trouble recently with some invisible dwarves, so we got put behind a bit. But I suspect I'll wind up running Dungeon of the Mad Mage. And so once I've run a bit of it, it'll make a little bit more sense about how to do that, because I've also run the Lost Mine of Phandelver, so including them together might be a bit easier. I do not feel that the Lost Mine of Phandelver transfers well over to other adventures. The only one I can think of that actually has been built to allow you to do that is Storm King's Thunder. But I didn't really enjoy Storm King's Thunder. In fact, it's not one that sort of stands out as being an adventure that I love to play. In fact, I know Simon, who ran it, he dungeon mastered, one of my friends, was appalled at how difficult it was to find everything, which is why I much prefer Dungeon of the Mad Mage, because each location is it's more condensed. There's fewer pages. In terms of preparation, I don't have to hunt through miles and miles of pages to find the information, because, of course, Wizards of the Coast doesn't do indexes. Stupid. Really, really stupid, but that's part of the problem. So I don't know that I've got a solution for you there, Bones and Crows. And I don't know that I'm in a position just yet to be able to give you advice on how to do that in a way that's going to be useful. Look, in terms of the Doppelgangers video that I covered today, I had time to think about it. I had time to ask advice and do a bit of research on how other people approached it. So that's what's going on there. So I'm not talking from the perspective of these are the things I did with a doppelganger. So I try to avoid talking about things that I don't have any experience with. And if I do, then I do a lot of research, which means it takes a long time for a video like that to get released, even if that's a live stream. Okay, Joe, what do you got here? Have the Black Spider sending supplies to Skullport. Yep, absolutely. That's a good idea, Joe. He could be certainly responsible for sending. And also, too, remember when I talked about the Doppelgangers could be working for somebody who's going to take place in another adventure. So if you have a main villain for Dungeon of the Mad Mage, then there's no reason why you can't have Halaster Blackcloak, having hired the Doppelgangers to pursue a particular route to take control of this location while he's beneath Waterdeep, trying to take control of the city and implant some puppets of his own, which might also be Doppelgangers or somebody else, who knows. All sorts of different ways you could approach that. Akira. Now, I apologize if I got your name wrong. Akira, if I got your name wrong, I do apologize. Great video, lots of good ideas. I'm glad. This video was really supposed to be about giving you ideas rather than giving you a breakdown of the two doppelgangers in the adventure. I'm curious how you would handle wandering PCs. I've got one player who seems set on traveling to Leon. I don't want him, and I want to limit him, but I'm not sure how to handle it. Okay, so Akira, here's the problem. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about a person. This is a player who does not understand that they're playing in a group game and that the Dungeons and Dragons adventure is not about them. And so I would say to them, look, you can go there and I'm going to spend 5 minutes in our game session around you traveling there and whatever you do there. And all the rest of the time is going to be with the other players. And I'm doing that because you aren't playing as a team. The whole point is you stick together. A lot of players do not understand, and it's because they played video games on their own in a darkened room, or that they're quite egotistical or selfish. They don't understand that their player character is simply a cog, part of a machine. The real character, the main focus for the entire adventure is the group. And the players who are playing characters in there are simply cogs that can be replaced or are less important than the whole group. And I think that's your biggest issue. So I would say to them, look, it's a group game. You either stick with the party and we play the adventure through, or if you decide to want to go off and do other things that are more around your character. It has to be in downtime when there's an opportunity to do so, and it's only going to be a couple of minutes. I'm only going to allow 5 minutes of that to take place. I'm not going to designate a lot of time to you role-playing your character in this location on their own while they do their own adventuring. Okay, if you want that, you need to find a dungeon master who's running a single-player game. Now, that's the sort of person that wants that sort of thing. They want a single-player game where all of the effort is put into them and nobody else. You don't have to say it in a bad way. I know a lot of people insist on talking to their players outside of the game, but I think you should say it at the table. It means that everybody else is completely aware. You don't have to say it in a hard and horrible way. But yeah, people need to understand that their character is not as important as the group. John Murphy, Akins. Is it Akins? I have the Doppelgangers working for Venomfang. Oh, okay. Stirring up trouble in the area and acting as his eyes and ears in this area. Well, fair enough. You could, look, anything. Use your imagination, play it out as you see fit. I think that's quite interesting, John, considering that Venomfang doesn't really have any kind of network. Nobody is sort of, there's no minions for Venomfang unless you put them in yourself. And the location, I can't really consider the blights and spiders as anything that can be considered something that's a minion for a dragon. That doesn't seem right to me. But hey, make it what you want. What's that, Ghost? All mind flayers have a network of doppelgangers working under them, but they are highly compartmentalized. Yes, true. I was very tempted to put a mind flayer image into my presentation. In the end, I decided to leave it alone. Why did I not mention possibly the doppelgangers working for a mind flayer? Is primarily because the only adventure that I could think of that might be able to be tied into that was Out of the Abyss or something you created yourself. And although I have suggested to a few dungeon masters to take Lostmont and Phandelver into Out of the Abyss and have the mine as an entry point to the Underdark, it just didn't seem like a very good idea. I like the idea of Out of the Abyss. I just do not like the layout of the adventure, which is why I've never run it. Although I would love to, the layout is not very good. Bones and Crows. Lostmont and Phandelver is my current first time DMing. Dungeon of the Mad Mage is my next by popular demand. Well, then you'll have to go by popular demand. I don't want to wing it, but Sildar is from Waterdeep, maybe there. No, well, I believe he is. He's from Waterdeep, so that's certainly a way of sort of playing into that. I know you're trying to find a link, why they would, but you know, after they've dealt with Phandalin, the chances are your players are going to want to go somewhere and spend all of their money, and they can't spend it in Phandalin because there's nothing to buy. So they're going to have to go to Neverwinter or Waterdeep. So that'll get them there. So I don't think you need to worry about getting them to Waterdeep. That's not going to be a big hassle. Or I could just change the NPC's story. You could, but I don't think you need to. Honestly, what's going to happen, Bones and Crows, is that the players are going to want to spend all their money that they've collected from the mine, and they want to go shopping and all the treasure that they've acquired, because they can only buy so much in Phandalin. So they'll want to go somewhere else. And Waterdeep is good a place as any. Akira, hey, thanks Fred, appreciate your advice. Also, pronouncing my name right, ha. Oh, I did, okay, that's good. It probably helps that my voice is in a better shape and I'm not full of phlegm as well. It's a bit hard to say anything correct then. And also a bit more refreshed, not quite so tired. My wandering player definitely comes from a video game background. You see, that'll be the reason. They believe that the game is about them, and they are essentially trying to ignore everybody else at the table. So yeah, just tell them, look, if you go off on your own, I'm going to give you 5 minutes during the game session to do whatever you want to do, and that's it, and everybody else is going to, it's a game about a group. It's not about your character, it's about the group. Yeah. Okay, Don. Hi, Don. How's it going? Late, but I finally caught part of your live show. Well done. Well done. Hey, I'm glad you did make it. I really hope that. I did a video, as you know, not so long ago, on how to contend with modifying monsters, and it proved to be, something that was actually fairly easy for me to put together. And yeah, and if it added more to what you needed to get out of that, that's great. So for those of you who don't know, Don is a patron, and he requested some information and advice on Patreon, and I gave him that advice, and I also made a video on the topic. You are welcome, Don, not a problem. Bones and Crows, thanks for the advice, Fred. Got to go. Catch you next time. Okay, all right, so I think we've wrapped it up. I am going to take off now because I feel like I've covered, there don't seem to be any more questions. So this seems like a good time to leave. There will not be another live stream today. I have to look for a full-time job. Otherwise, I will not be able to survive. So in the past, I was doing lots and lots of them, but it really was not working, and it wasn't getting me what I needed, and it certainly wasn't paying the bills. So got to pay the bills. So instead, just one live stream, or if it's not a live stream, maybe 5 times a week might happen, 5 times a week, or you get a pre-recorded video, or you might not get anything, just depending on whatever I'm working on. But I have been working on a lot of notes for everything. Okay, so no matter where you are in the world, whether it's morning, night, afternoon, oh, what's that, John? Thanks, have a great day, good luck on the job hunt, thank you very much. So wherever you are in the world, whether it's the morning, night, afternoon, day, look after your family and your friends and yourself. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s.